From Relay FM, this is Connected, episode 479. This episode is brought to you by Fitbod, ExpressVPN, and Notion. My name is Myke Hurley, and I'm joined by Federico and Ticci. Ciao, Federico.
Ciao, Myke. Welcome back.
Thank you. No Steven this week. Just to let everybody know, Steven's had the metal taken out of his foot. He's doing good, but he's on painkillers, so he's giving him a week off.
What should people do to tell Steven that he's missed?
Just send him anything feet-related.
Yes. Well, don't say that on the internet.
I've said it. You send Steven anything you want related to feet. He'll appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Do that however you want.
Exactly. Whatever that means to you. I will say thank you for the lovely haikus. I felt very loved last week receiving all these haikus.
Pleased. I am pleased that was your reaction. That was the goal. Did you enjoy people's creativity with the haikus?
Yeah, they were very good. But the main thing was people were just being very nice to me, which was lovely. It was, I was on Mastodon. I was just like scrolling through, and there was just loads of lovely haikus. People telling me how much I was missed, which was wonderful. So I really appreciated it. But so next time Steven's away, we'll do something nice for him. But look, to be fair, maybe he'll like the feet-related content. I don't know.
Some people are into that. So
if you don't want to send him weird stuff, just send him a foot emoji. That's what
that works. Yeah, it works. Or it can be weird stuff. We're not judging.
I got some weird haikus. So
cool. Yeah,
most of them were lovely. Yeah, some of them are odd.
Yeah. That's that's fine.
We got to give a shout out to Eric because Eric did the thing.
Yes.
That I don't know anybody has done before.
I think someone else did it before, but
if you have done this, what we're about to say, then you can write in and let us know, and we will, and I will correct myself next week.
Yes.
But Eric did the thing. Eric took a trip to Federico Christmas trees.
Yes.
What I think we will refer to as the Connected Pilgrimage.
Yes.
They went to Federico Christmas trees. I don't know if they said Connected sent them. I don't know if that happened. I know that was a thing that you wanted people to do. But I'll put the link to Eric's Mastodon post in the show notes. And Eric even calls it a pilgrimage. But took the trip, went to Federico Christmas trees, had very nice things to say about Federico's Christmas trees.
Eric said genuinely the nicest Christmas trees I've ever seen.
Yep.
That's because they source them from Ohio and all the other places. Everybody knows
about
top
Ohio
quality trees at Federico's Christmas trees. So yeah, thank you, Eric. And if you wanna end up on this program with a link in the show notes and a mention, just like Eric, you just gotta do the weird pilgrimage to Federico's Christmas tree somewhere in Utah. I never recall the name of the town, but yeah, that's how you do it. Thank you, Eric.
So on last week's show, listener Jason wrote in to talk about the fact that they dropped a AirPod in a pool. And you too, and I was definitely coming along for the ride on this one. Couldn't understand why it took 3 to 4 minutes to find a net when surely there was a net already in Jason's hand. So Jason wrote in to say, to clarify about why it took me 3 to 4 minutes to get the AirPod out of the pool, I did have a net and I was scooping leaves from the surface of the pool, but this was in the deep end and the AirPod fell about 7 feet deep where it was harder to see among the leaves. I tried to use the net, but it was challenging to scoop it out with the net at that depth, which is why it took as long as it did. Now, what Jason hasn't said here is, did Jason go in?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
This is the last piece of information. So, Jason, if you could write back in again.
Jason, did you go in?
How did you get it then, if it wasn't the net?
Did you send someone else?
Really tall? Do you live with a basketball player? Did you ask them to go down and get it for you? These are the questions.
Do you have a scuba-diving dog? How? So if it was challenging to scoop it out, then how did you do it?
Yeah, we got to know. Maybe you took an epic dive into the pool yourself.
Maybe. Is there video evidence of this, Jason? We need to know at this point. So stay tuned for this continuing series of follow-up items about listener Jason and an AirPod that fell into a pool 7 feet deep.
Listener Jono wrote in and said, guys, I think I found Japanese Federico on YouTube.
All right, okay.
This guy has built a pretty big following in Japan for the use of iPad as his daily driver. Then this week, he drops a video about the X-Real glasses.
See, all us iPad people were doing this now. Yeah, look. Look at Hiroka Yuta doing the thing with the glasses.
Yep.
Is that how I look with the glasses?
Here's what I'm gonna say, Federico. I'm just gonna say a thing. You are very cool, very handsome, right?
Thank you.
I think that Yuta-san is cooler than you. Look at him. Look how cool he looks, you know? So
Yuta-san doesn't have tattoos. So
well, how do you know?
Well,
you don't know.
Not on his hand.
Yeah. That's part of your coolness, for sure. But you see, he's got like the Japanese style of clothing, which I just think is super cool. You know?
Very minimal. But I love The Office, very Japanese, very minimal.
Very nice.
Love the accent colors, the yellow and the green in the background.
The video is shot very well too. Like this guy is a very good YouTuber. Well, I don't know what he's saying though, but I'm sure.
No,
good.
I have no idea. But 378,000 subscribers. Let's see. Skimming through the channel.
Here's something I'm going to say too. I already referenced this in the pro show, but I'm a big fan of the Kind of Funny podcasts. They're sponsored by X-Real right now, and I'm like, come on, bring that money over here. We have the number one spokesman on this show for the X-Real glasses.
I have gone, as you will hear later in the show, I have gone to such great lengths.
Greater lengths?
Greater lengths.
Oh my word. Okay.
To make sure that I can use my X-Real glasses exactly how I want.
So come on, X-Real. Throw the money at your favorite boys. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. Speaking of throwing money at the favorite boys.
Speaking of money.
Go to giverelay.com. You can get 20% off an annual membership plan until December 15th. This can be, if maybe you are an existing member and you're hearing this, I'm going to keep it short because of that. You can gift this to someone. Maybe there's someone in your life. You love the Connected Pro so much that you want to gift a Connected Pro annual plan to someone. You can do that by going to giverelay.com. Or maybe you are thinking to yourself, man, I really wish I could listen to all this cool stuff they talk about on Connected Pro and not have to hear any ads. Also, go to giverelay.com, 20% off an annual plan until December 15th. So that's only like a week and a bit longer. Do not miss out. We only do this once a year. So giverelay.com, 20% off an annual plan. You can choose Connected Pro. You can choose other shows too, but you should choose Connected Pro because it's good. And we're good and you love us. So go to giverelay.com. I have great news for you, Federico.
Okay.
Threads comes to the EU in December.
Well, it is December. Where's Threads?
So actually, saying that, I saw, I got shared this via the algorithm, that there was an update yesterday to the Threads app, which includes localization strings for lots of languages in like European languages. So
very nice. Okay.
I think it's happening.
It's happening. So do I still have the app installed on my phone? Let's see. No, I do not. I deleted it because it was too sad. So this is, I'm pleased. I feel like I've been sort of cut out from all this fun that my friends are having on Threads. And I will be back as soon as the law allows me to be back. So I can't wait.
I'm genuinely really keen to see what you think of Threads coming into it cold, effectively, right? Because I've seen it change and expand.
You've seen it change.
Yeah, like it's very different now from when it started, right? Like
how so?
Well, there's the algorithm. There's also the For You, right? So like the For You and also like the following. So you got that option. Also, the community has kind of solidified itself a little bit more, grown a little bit more. It's very different to Mastodon in at least for me, like the people that are there and the type of content it's very different. And so I'm interested to see what you think of it coming into it, having not seen it change.
Interesting. Yeah, because I can, I'm seeing now that I can read my timeline, but I can't do anything else.
Oh, so that's changed.
And I can switch between For You and following.
So you weren't able to do that before, right? So it's clearly happening.
At some point I wasn't.
Yeah, they cut you off.
If I tap on a post, it still doesn't load the replies. I can't see anything. But at least I can scroll my timeline. This looks like, from a quick skim, this looks a lot more like Twitter.
Yes. It's the closest thing to a Twitter-like experience that I have seen, like, kind of post my Twitter usage. And I would say that is for good, but can also be for bad. Like, I get stuff served by the algorithm that I don't necessarily want, but I've kind of developed more of a sense of, like, if I see that stuff, I either mute those accounts or block those accounts or just, like, close threads. Like, I get political stuff in there. It's like, I don't want this. Like, this isn't what I want here. But, yeah, there is still a lot of interesting stuff, though, that I see. Because a lot of it is based off the Instagram algorithm, right? And so I follow a lot of people on Instagram, a lot of different interests that I have. And so I see a lot of stuff on Threads, which is like, oh yeah, I can see where you served this. Like I get a lot of F1 news on Threads, even though I don't follow accounts. But that's good because that's what I want in the algorithm. Like stuff I'm interested in, but don't necessarily want all the time. So I think it's good. And I'm really intrigued to see what happens when all of Europe joins Threads as well.
Nice. We're coming, Threads.
You better watch out.
We're coming. All right. So what is it about this charger that you want? Myke and chargers, like what's happening here? Why do you want to talk about a charger?
So Dan wrote in to say, how does Myke like the Mophie 3-in-1 charger? Which, by the way, Dan, great memory. Because I said that I wanted a charger for travel. I mentioned this a couple of months ago. This is the first trip that I've taken since buying this charger. Because I wanted... in my USB-C world and in my MagSafe world, I wanted a different charging solution than what I was using before, which is just like plugging in a bunch of cables. I think that this Mophie 3-in-1 charger for me is like basically perfect for travel. It's a nice little like brick which kind of snaps together and you open it up and you have Apple Watch, a MagSafe, and a little Ticci spot for AirPods Pro. And I will say since I bought it, they've actually updated it. It now has a 15-watt MagSafe and Apple Watch fast charger, like in the new version, which I don't have. But I thought, is this going to be a problem? But I didn't notice any issue with charging. You know, like I'm charging when I'm sleeping mostly, and so it wasn't too much of a problem. But it's cool that they did update it for this. So yeah, I recommend this. Like for a charging solution, it folds down super small, and you just need like a USB-C cable and a brick. It comes in a little pouch. I didn't take all that stuff because I use the little multi-port travel charger from the company's name I don't remember now, but I'll find it and put it in the show notes. That I'm really happy with that charger. It was one that Gray found, Minute or something like that. Minute charger. I don't know. I'll find it and I'll put it in the show notes. But that paired with this is like it's pretty perfect for me for my needs. I did notice that 12 South though have just released a very adorable and nice looking travel charger, but it's just Apple Watch and MagSafe, but that's probably enough. Like I don't really feel like you need an AirPods charger so much because it can charge on both of those things, right?
Yep.
But I think this is really cool. It's called the Butterfly. It's a very cool looking piece of hardware. It's very small. Yeah, I think it looks good.
Very small, and of course you gotta provide your own USB-C power. But as long as you have any of these like modern gun chargers that are really small, or even just a USB-C battery, like you can just power this thing and supply 15 watts, and you'll be good. So yeah, the Butterfly from 12 South. It looks really nice. I may consider it as a travel thing.
But I do really like this one that I bought. So like I'm not going to change to this other one, but like this is very good. Like this looks really cool too. I'll be intrigued. If you get one, I'll really be intrigued to see what you think about it. But this feels like aesthetically it fits for you too. This 12 South one. I feel like this is like a Federico style kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, it seems like it actually comes with braided USB-C cable and a bunch of travel adapters. So there you go. You don't even need to provide your own power. This is perfect. So yeah, I'm a big fan of 12 South products, and I think I may get this one. Actually, looks really nice.
It does look really nice, actually. Minix is the thing. I was MINIX. That's the Turbo 3-port GAN wall charger. That's my charger of choice. There's 2 USB-C, 1 USB-A. I actually really like this thing. This is another top recommendation. This one came from Gray. I really like it. This episode is brought to you in part by our friends over at Fitbod. When you're looking to change your fitness level, it can be hard to know where to get started, which is why I'm pleased to let you know that Fitbod is an easy and affordable way to build a fitness plan that is just for you. Everybody has a fitness path that is unique to them, which is why Fitbod uses data to make sure that they customize things exactly to suit you. By using a powerful algorithm to learn about you, your goals, and training ability, Fitbod will create a custom dynamic program based on your experience and any equipment you have access to, all contained inside of an app that makes it incredibly easy to learn how to perform every exercise. Superior results are achieved when a workout program is tailored to your unique body, unique experience, environment, and your goals. Your muscles will also improve when they work together. So overworking some muscles while underworking others will negatively impact your results overall, which is why Fitbod tracks your muscle fatigue, tracks the exercises that you're doing, and the recovery that you're going to need for those muscles to build and design a well-balanced workout routine for you. This is by mixing up your muscle groups, your exercises, your sets, your reps, and the weight you're using over time, to make sure that you're keeping your overall strength and body sharp. This also will serve to make your gym sessions feel fresh, because I know I felt this before. I've used some apps and some programs in the past before I found Fitbod where I was doing the same things over and over again, and this does not lend itself to me to want to continue doing these plans because I find them boring. But the Fitbod system will make sure to give you new exercises. They're also super easy to learn how to do because they have thousands of HD video tutorials inside of the app for these exercises. They shoot them from multiple angles, so it's really easy to learn. It also integrates with your Apple Watch, your Wear OS smartwatch, and apps like Strava, Fitbit, and Apple Health, along with allowing you to keep track of your achievements and personal bests with their tracking charts inside of Fitbod. Personalized training of this quality can be really expensive. Fitbod is just $12.99 a month or $79.99 a year. But you can get 25% off your membership by signing up today at fitbod.me/connected. So go now and get your customized fitness plan at fitbod.me/connected. That is fitbod.me/connected, and you'll get 25% off your membership. A thanks to Fitbod for their support of this show and Relay FM. Everyone's going wild on the internet for the Beeper Mini.
Beeper
Mini.
I love the name, Beeper Mini.
This is, I think, in our part of the world, has taken over. It's taken everybody by storm in the last week or actually 24 hours or so.
Yes.
How familiar are you with this thing so far?
I've tried Beeper, both Beeper and Texts, which is a similar competing product by the makers of WordPress. A few weeks ago, I have both a Beeper and a Texts account. These are both services that try to sort of consolidate your messaging services into a single chat UI. And I tried Beeper before, but that's when they were using the relay method for accessing iMessage, which essentially involved spinning up a virtual Mac in the cloud and logging in with your Apple ID. But this is a different thing. Beeper Mini is an Android client for iMessage that actually logs you into iMessage without having a computer somewhere in the cloud with your account. And this is possible because Beeper Mini talks directly to the iMessage API in the cloud, since they were able to reverse engineer the whole thing.
That is the key difference. I really recommend friend of the show, Quinn Nelson, made a really great video kind of showing how this works and then actually showing how it works in action. Like he was talking to this system himself, right? Like it as well, like to kind of show, because it's all open source, like the way that this has been reverse engineered. But if you want to use it in like actually on your Android phone, Beeper Mini is the way to do it. It is a monthly subscription of $2 a month, created by the founder of Pebble, which is funny to me, the smart watch.
Yeah.
He created the company Beeper, and then there was an engineer who I think is a student who worked out this reverse engineering method, and it effectively allows for iMessage on an Android phone and supports like group messages with the data that comes with them, like names and photos and stuff, sharing full res media, typing indicators, threads, like the way that threading works in iMessage, supports stickers and GIFs, tapbacks, basically everything. It's only missing stuff like message effects and iMessage apps, which it says they don't think they'll ever be able to work out, which I think we're all good with that. This is pretty wild. Like, essentially, you're not creating a new... You don't even need to create an iMessage account, like an Apple ID for this. It just works with your Android phone number.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And if you're Apple, you gotta believe that they must be so upset that this is possible. And I don't know if technically possible at all, but I am pretty confident that they're trying all they can do to close whatever technique they used to reverse engineer iMessage. But it may be, if this is an actual like complete reverse engineer of how iMessages are sent from an iPhone to another Apple device, which seems to be the case, it may be hard for Apple to close this loophole, because it's not technically a loophole. If you are simulating, and if you're saying, I'm an iPhone, I'm an Apple device, I'm sending iMessages, I don't want to get too technical here, but also because I cannot get this technical.
I mean, I watched Quinn's video, and this is a little above my pay grade.
Yeah. So I don't even know if it's possible for Apple to close this, but I have to believe that they're trying. Because obviously,
I don't know. Like,
why not?
They might want to. I'm very sure they will want to, but it's awkward right now, right? Because they're at the same time trying to say they're not a gatekeeper. But like, I feel like probably the way around this is some element of it's breaking a terms.
Oops, we accidentally, or they just could release an upgrade to iMessage, and in the process it breaks this third-party integrations, and they'd be like, no, we just applied our regular updates to the iMessage service.
Realistically, that could just happen anyway, right? Like that could just happen as part of like a course of business kind of thing. But here's the thing. If this happened 2 or 3 years ago, I'd feel very confident they'd get it shut down. But I think just the politics
now they gotta tread
complicated.
lightly, is what you're saying, because they are under the microscope of the EU.
And we've seen documentation that has come out in court cases where they're talking about the fact that iMessage is a lock-in for the iOS ecosystem. Like, there are conversations where I don't remember who it was. I think someone mentioned to Phil Schiller, or Phil Schiller said to someone about, should we put it on Android? And it was like, no, we shouldn't do that. So like, it's a bad look to shut this down now. Mm-hmm. Like, realistically, like, I know it's a big deal, but like, if you're gonna go to these lengths, you're not switching to an iPhone. Like, anyway, like, I've got to believe, like, someone who would pay $2 a month to be a blue bubble rather than a green bubble is like, they're pretty entrenched, I'm sure, right, at this point. Like, are you really gonna grab that customer? I don't know. Maybe I'm not fully understanding the like psychology of someone making this decision, but I just feel like it's kind of like, what's the point? Like, make these people dance, right? Make their lives harder in some way or another by making changes to the system, because you're going to make changes to the system. But I feel like but also they're a very litigious company. Like, I I could look, if they haven't sent a cease and desist, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
But cease and desists can be argued and like without anybody ever knowing anything about it. And so like you can go around and around on this one, and Beeper might be able to get a good case together. But I'm pretty confident this is breaking an end user license agreement. But at the same time, if you're not signing up for an Apple ID to do this, are you breaking an end user license agreement? I don't know, man.
If I was Beeper, I would, and if Apple came with a cease and desist or like in any sort of litigious form, I would seriously consider an acquisition from a bigger company to have the resources to fight them.
Take this to Samsung or but would Samsung want to touch it, right? Because that feels like that. I see what you're saying, but at the same time, like this is this is like something falling off the back of a truck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are like hot goods. Like, I don't know if you want to go near this.
I'll say this though. What this opens up for us Apple users, and I'm gonna say this, just something that came in my mind 20 seconds ago. iMessage obviously has a pretty strong lock-in effect, right? Our group chat is on iMessage. My thread with Sylvia is an iMessage. I got all my groups in there. But now with this Beeper solution, I could realistically consider something like a foldable device that I use as my reading, like as an e-reader, like one of these Samsung or what's the other company that makes the cool foldable? OnePlus? It's not OnePlus. Who is it that makes another interesting foldable device?
Oh, it is OnePlus is making one right now.
OnePlus is making one.
It's based on the Oppo.
Oppo, yes, thank you.
Because they're the same company, essentially.
Whenever I tried Android devices as like consumption, because Android devices, especially the tablet form factor ones, are great for reading, watching YouTube, and emulators, right? Because from the Google Play Store, you can get all of these things. But whenever I set up one of those Android devices, I missed the fact that I couldn't text you guys. You know, it's like, oh, I gotta grab my phone, and it's now with Beeper Mini, I could stay logged into iMessage, but finally use one of these Android foldables as my entertainment devices.
Yeah, because we could just add your Android phone number to the group chat for the time that you're.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
just $2 a month.
$2 a month, Beeper Mini. Until it lasts, I guess. If it lasts.
That is like, I could not, if you told me to put money on whether Apple will try and get it taken down or not, I feel like I couldn't, because this is very complicated. Like,
yeah,
I can see that it's very difficult for them, but they do a lot of things which I wouldn't do if I was them, right? Like, they still do them anyway. And like they make decisions where I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea, but they do it anyway. So maybe they will like lawyer up.
Yeah.
I want to know what John thinks about this.
Oh, we'll be able to ask him soon.
Because he's going to be on the show next week, right? Maybe we could talk about it if I won't be around.
Maybe in a week. Beeper Mini won't be around anymore. Who knows?
Maybe it won't even matter.
Who knows?
See what OCJ thinks. Here's the thing. I wanted to talk to you about the IA Writer AI thing. I put it in the show notes today just when I saw the headline. I then went and read about it, and I find it way less interesting, but I want to talk to you about it anyway.
Okay.
So, IA, the Information Architects is the name of the company, right?
Yes, that is correct.
They have introduced a new tool in IA Writer to allow you to have a greater view over what text would look like if you're using an AI assistant to help you. Their whole focus with this update is having AI help you write, but not write for you. So the idea is you would be writing something and then you want some help from ChatGPT. You go to ChatGPT, you ask it to write something for you. And when you copy and paste that text into IA Writer, and you can choose to paste as it came from AI, and it changes the color of the text. So your text that you write is in black. The text that the AI writes is in gray. The idea being that you would go as a good writer and edit what the AI system gave you. So then you can get a view of how much has been changed before you publish that text or whatever. This is interesting, but when I heard about it, I thought that they'd integrated ChatGPT into the system, which I think would be much more compelling as a way to deal with this. That you would call in an AI writer, you give it a prompt like you can do in a bunch of apps, and it would write the text for you, and it would appear in a different color, and then you could edit it.
See, that's something else that I would also very much like. Yes.
This is what it should do, but instead it's just a fancy copy and paste. But the formatting idea is very good, and they're actually trying to push this as like to become a standard that you're very aware of what you, once it's finished, what you wrote and what the AI wrote, and like you can take your own thought about that.
And this is where I'm going to say something potentially controversial, because I saw a lot of people loving this feature, and I'm very confused by it. I love IA Writer. I think it's a really good app, and it's my text editor when I'm not using Obsidian. If I want to edit like a markdown file from someone else, that's what I use. I've been using IA Writer for a very long time, but I don't get this feature. It almost feels like, and I get this sort of vibe from the announcement that, and maybe it's just me. Look, maybe it's just my perspective, but I almost get the feeling that they want to make you feel bad for using AI generated content, like shaming you into making you feel like, haha, you fool, look at this. ChatGPT wrote this, not you. Like, I don't like that whole attitude of like, ooh, now and computers and AI are going to replace humans. So now we're going to give you a feature to make you feel bad about the things that you didn't write yourself. And like, and I don't get it, because like, if I'm the writer and I'm using the application IA Writer, and then I go to the ChatGPT website and I ask ChatGPT for something, and then I manually paste it back into IA Writer, I know what I wrote, and I know what it's not mine. Like, the whole point of being a writer should be that you know what you wrote. So why should I make myself feel bad for getting a little help from another tool?
I mean, this feels to me like one of those features that like we're a writer's writing app, you know?
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, we would we're above this.
Sure. Okay.
I think that there's something interesting to that. And I see where, interesting to what they're doing, but I see where you're coming from. And it's like, maybe it just depends on the way that they approach it. But I do feel though, like Kate in the chat has posed the idea, but what if you wrote something, left for a week, came back? Would you still remember?
But no, I've been doing this for 15 years, and let me tell you, I remember every single thing I wrote.
Let's say you would, but I can imagine where Kate is coming from, that someone could forget. But what I would say is
but someone who would forget is someone who uses IA Writer.
Maybe, but let's imagine this gets integrated into every app, right? But the point that I would make to Kate's point is, if you forget, does it matter? Like, if you use ChatGPT to help you write something, and at the end of it, you don't know, does it matter?
No, it does not matter. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you do it manually and intentionally, and if you do this for a living, you will remember what you wrote and what you didn't.
Yeah.
And if you are the kind of writer who doesn't remember and you use ChatGPT to help you create content, it means you don't care what you wrote and what ChatGPT wrote. Therefore, the feature doesn't make a lot of sense because you don't care anyway.
And then, so like Ryan says here, this is a really interesting conversation. Ryan says, for a lot of professional work, directly copying from ChatGPT would not fly. Yes, so don't do it. Right? Like, if you shouldn't do it, don't do it. Right? Like,
I can help myself. I just look at that ChatGPT website. Oh, I tripped and fell into the ChatGPT copy and paste box. Yeah. I don't know how.
Because in a mode like that, use it, but don't copy and paste from it, right? Like, use it to help spark some thoughts for you, but then write your own words.
Yep.
Like, I think that there is something interesting here, but I see where you're coming from. It's an interesting way of trying to address a problem, but is the problem there? I don't know.
I guess a better way to frame my position would be that as soon as I saw this announcement, and I was on the beta and everything, I felt this mismatch between the audience of a IA writer and this feature.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because I strongly feel like the audience, the typical customer of IA writer, is not the kind of person who copies and pastes from ChatGPT. You know?
Yep. I think you're right.
And it's like they made a feature for a person who does not use ChatGPT. And so it's like, why? You know, anyway. iWriter is pretty cool. I will never use this feature. But they should, like, I would totally use an integrated version of like, hey, help me proofread this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but don't, you know, my personal opinion, if you are a writer for a living, don't let ChatGPT write your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With me, for a lot of, like, for this stuff right now, I use ChatGPT a lot for improving my grammar. Like, don't change what I wrote, but make it better for people that read it and get annoyed.
That's great. And
I will use it on the description of this episode. Like, I will write a description for this episode, I will paste it into ChatGPT, and I will ask it to fix my grammar. Because that is like my biggest use of ChatGPT specifically. I have also been using it for searching stuff recently, and it has been better for me in some instances.
Like what kind of stuff? What kind of stuff are you searching for?
Let me actually like.
Well, I don't mean to pry on your
it's
ChatGPT search history.
I'm gonna look through my ChatGPT search history now. Okay, here's one. So we just did an update. This is not intended to be promo, but here we go now. We just did an update to the Sidekick Notepad website. Actually, we built the Sidekick Notepad website. We made a website for it. And one of the things that I wanted was to have quotes from people that have reviewed it. And so I asked ChatGPT to find quotes from reviews of the Sidekick Notepad and give me the URLs that they came from. And so it could just go and search the entire internet for me and pull out quotes. So I didn't even have to read the reviews again to get the quotes. Like, that is just a more efficient way to do a search than me Google Sidekick Notepad review and then read through every article. Like, I've read them before, but I didn't save the quotes. So I found that to be helpful. What else?
That's a good use case.
When I was looking for budgeting apps, I asked ChatGPT and it gave me a bunch of selections.
Very nice.
That's all I've got right now for you.
Yeah. I use it a lot for proofreading and for more complex searches that wouldn't cut it on Google, especially when your query is framed more like there's like multiple steps involved. Like what you just mentioned, hey, I need to find people who wrote a review of this product and also give me the links to those. Like, it's a multi-step query. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what ChatGPT is strong at, which, by the way, as we were recording the show, Google released finally the long-anticipated Gemini. Model, which is already integrated in Google Bard. So there's apparently three flavors of Gemini Nano Pro, which is what Bard is using, and there's Gemini Ultra, which is coming out next year. So more companies doing the Ultra moniker for products. But yeah, so
I'll be
now
interested to hear what that's all about. But
yeah,
I don't really have a lot of hope for Google in this, if I'm being completely honest. I'll say some of the searches I remember that I'd done there, but I just deleted them because they weren't important to have in my history. Like when we were on holiday, I was asking for like restaurant recommendations because I could give it what I was looking for, and it was just easier. Like, I'm looking for this style of food in this area. Could you recommend restaurants that also have outside seating? Like, that is so much easier to get results from than Google, in my opinion. Whether they're good results or not, it's always a starting point. But like, that kind of query is just better than Googling that query. Although maybe I could use Google Bard now to get that answer. I don't know. This episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN. If you're looking for something new to watch during your holiday downtime, this is information you need. Maybe you've already watched Home Alone too many times this year. Maybe you want to change from the usual movies. ExpressVPN is an app that lets you change your online location, and if you use Netflix, that means you could get a whole new library of content. Because if you didn't know, Netflix has different shows and movies in every country. If you're in Canada, you could get We're the Millers, which is a movie that's I think a classic comedy. I watched that a few weeks ago. It was a good show. In the UK, if you want to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, we have that on Netflix here. It's super simple to do this. You just fire up the ExpressVPN app on any computer, and actually TV. Today I saw a headline about this. They put ExpressVPN on the Apple TV, which is awesome. That is awesome. So now when you're on your Apple TV, you can fire up ExpressVPN, change your location, refresh the app that you want, like Netflix or whatever, and you'll get different content from the different countries. ExpressVPN lets you choose from almost 100 different ones. Imagine all the libraries you could go through. ExpressVPN will also help you access content on other streaming services like Disney+, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, and many more. I use this a lot when I am traveling and I want to carry on watching a show that I was watching on a service at home, but it won't work otherwise. So I love it for that. In general, VPNs can be super slow, making this kind of not good, like a not good experience. That is why you should use ExpressVPN. It is so fast. You do not see buffering. You do not see lag. You can stream in HD quality. This holiday season, gift yourself a brand new library of content. Go to expressvpn.com/connected. You can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That is expressvpn.com/connected, expressvpn.com/connected to learn more. A thanks to ExpressVPN for their support of this show and all of Relay FM. So I am aware of the fact that there is some new hardware in your home. When listeners last heard, you had a Bridge Max keyboard, Bridge Max Plus keyboard. How was that fared?
Lasted 6 hours.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, that's 6 more hours that I was hoping for. I thought it was going to be totally broken or that it wouldn't turn on. It did turn on, and I liked it quite a bit for the first 6 hours, and then the trackpad stopped working altogether. And the worst part is there used to be a Bridge Connect utility on the App Store that you could download to update the firmware of your keyboard. But since the Bridge company went under and then it was acquired again, I read somewhere on Reddit that the developer certificate of the app expired and the new owners couldn't be bothered to renew it. So Bridge Connect is gone from the App Store.
Right.
I'm stuck on an older firmware for this keyboard, and apparently the newer firmware, like the latest version they released, improved the trackpad reliability, but there's no way for me to update the keyboard. So the trackpad stopped working, and so did my hope for the Bridge keyboard. It was nice, and I can confirm that the new magnetic attachment mechanism is so much better than the clips they had before. The viewing angles were great, but the trackpad was not.
It's pretty important.
It's like at some point, like it just started acting totally randomly, like it's doing things it was not supposed to do. So, very unfortunate. It's now in a drawer somewhere. Hopefully, at some point, it will be possible to update the firmware of a Bridge keyboard again. We'll see. But I have much bigger, let's say, fish to fry, Myke, so to speak. The Doco 3 iPad keyboard.
Oh, here we go. This was the one that you had bought and were waiting to arrive, right?
This is took a long time. Multiple carriers handed this keyboard to to each other and eventually to the Italian post office. But I have it. It's with me, and I have thoughts. So, first off, build quality. So I'll just say this. The aluminum enclosure is great. The sort of the flat back upon which you attach the iPad is good enough. It's got the same mechanism as the Magic Keyboard. The iPad is floating above the keyboard, so it doesn't support as many viewing angles as the Bridge one. This has the same viewing angles of an Apple Magic Keyboard. but the keyboard is backlit and has a function row. However, the keyboard is barely passable. I don't love the travel of the keys. They feel a bit flimsy to me. Like they when you have those keyboards that make like a little plasticky noise Myke, you know about keyboards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the sound. I prefer the more muted approach of the Magic Keyboard. And I don't like how the letters are not printed in the center of the key. They're sort of printed in the bottom right corner for some reason. And this makes it feel like a retro keyboard to me. I don't know why. It works and it's fine.
Wait, the bottom right corner?
Yeah, the letters are printed on the bottom right corner of the key itself.
Okay, I think that's going... that is a weird placement. To be that small too, like I'm looking on the website. They made a lot of decisions to get to that point, and I feel like they were all wrong. Yeah. Like, we're not going to do it in the middle or the top left. We're going to do it in the bottom right. Okay, you're going to do
bottom
it.
Right.
Are you going to do it like the old Apple keyboards where it was italicized? No, we're not going to do that. Okay. What size are you going to do the printing? The smallest possible. Okay.
Yeah. That said, so the travel is not as nice and as the Magic Keyboard. That's okay. Now we get to the good stuff. The build quality of the case is great. It does feel like an Apple product. It's sturdy. It's got chamfered edges. It's really nice. The function keys. So there was a lot of talk when Apple announced the Magic Keyboard. Oh, they couldn't do a function row because then you wouldn't be able to access the function row if the iPad is floating above it. Let me tell you, you can access the function row just fine. I was playing and pausing music, controlling my volume, controlling brightness without having to use Control Center. It's great. I love having a function row there. There's a button that simulates the old home button, takes you back home. They didn't do an escape key, which is a bummer. I think I would have rather taken an escape key than a home button or a home key, and there's no way to remap that button, unfortunately. So that's something worth keeping in mind. But having a function row in there is great, especially for quick music playback controls. But the best part, Myke, actually, no, let me talk about the trackpad.
Okay.
So the trackpad, it's not as nice as the Apple trackpad, and that is not a surprise. But it is much better than the Bridge one. So whatever this company, DocoMidi, is doing to reverse engineer how a Bluetooth trackpad should work, they have done a better job than Bridge so far.
Okay.
I've been using this keyboard for the whole day. I wrote in it. I've done email. I've done Mastodon. I've used gestures for Stage Manager for just, 2-finger gesture, 3-finger ones, 4-finger ones. Like, they all worked. The trackpad is not as perfect as the Apple Magic Trackpad, right? Sometimes it lags for a fraction of a second. I had to take the speed of the pointer up a notch in settings because I found it too slow with the setting that I normally use with my Magic Keyboard. Occasionally, when I hold down the command key, say that I'm in Google and I want to hold down command and then click on a search result to open it in a new tab. Sometimes when I hold down command, the pointer sort of lags behind for a fraction of a second and then it catches up again. But the thing is, I get the feeling that they are obviously reverse engineering how a trackpad should work, and they did it much better than Bridge. I can use it. I've been using this keyboard the whole day and it works. But keep in mind that it's not as if the Apple trackpad is 100% perfect, this is 75 to 80%. The feeling of an Apple Magic Trackpad. It's a very close approximation, but still an approximation. In fact, I would say that the worst part of the trackpad is the build quality. Just like the keyboard, it feels kind of flimsy. and I don't like the noise that it makes when you click it. I don't know if you can make this out. It's
I can't really
more clicky than a Magic Trackpad.
Is it like mechanical, the clicking? Like is it like, can you click the entire trackpad and it still works, or is it like hinging?
I can click the entire trackpad.
Okay.
Yeah, I clicked in the bottom left corner and I opened an app on the home screen. So yeah, it works. The best part, of course, is the hub in the back of the keyboard. So in the back of the keyboard, there's a full-on hub for USB-C, USB-A, and HDMI. And here we get to the really good stuff. The keyboard is provided with a short USB-C cable that connects the iPad to the keyboard itself. That's because, the keyboard is also a hub. So you got to connect the iPad to the keyboard via USB-C cable. You have this really short, it's like 15 centimeters USB-C cable. You put it on the side of the iPad when it's docked on the keyboard, and it doesn't bother me at all. In the back, you have one USB-C port for pass-through charging. So when the iPad is connected to the keyboard and you plug your main sort of USB-C source of power in the back of the iPad into the USB-C port of the keyboard, it works. It fast charges your iPad. So you have fast charging pass-through. You have two USB-A ports for data, and you have one HDMI. Then you have two SD and micro SD slots. I haven't tested the micro SD slots yet, but I have done some other tests today, Myke. So I'm going to talk about this shortly. I also received my Sony Pulse earbuds for the PlayStation 5. And those earbuds, they come with the PlayStation Link adapter, which is a small USB-A dongle that you plug into things and allows you for faster connections than Bluetooth.
USB-A?
It's USB-A.
What are
it's
they
USB-A.
doing?
I don't know. It's USB-A. Now, whatever DokuMedia did with this USB hub, their USB-C, their USB ports, both the USB-C one and the USB-A ports, they do not support audio pass-through, it seems. I plugged my PS Link adapter into the ports of the DokuMedia keyboard. The PS Link was recognized by iPadOS, but I couldn't hear any audio. Then I plugged the PS Link adapter into the iPad Pro directly, and it worked. So there appears to be bugs with USB audio with the DokuMedia keyboards. Everything else, however, Myke, worked. I tried my glasses, of course. There's an HDMI out port, so I did an HDMI cable connected to the HDMI adapter that I use already for my Nintendo Switch, and then to my glasses, and it worked out of the box. So I can plug in my existing cable setup for the Nintendo Switch in the back of the Doku keyboard, and it works. Stage Manager activated, and I could use the iPad with my X-Real glasses. Ethernet works. I built, and I sent you photos. You can include these photos in the show notes. I built this beautiful contraption of an Ethernet adapter. I wanted to have an Ethernet to USB-C adapter that didn't have. People in Discord can see. I didn't want to have the USB-C adapter sort of just, wobbling in the back of my iPad or in the back of my Steam Deck. We'll get to that in a few minutes. So I created this monster that actually works. It's an Ethernet patch cable connected to a TP-Link Ethernet to USB-C adapter. Then there's a USB-C female to USB-C female dongle in between. And lastly, the USB-C cable I actually want to use. I use this for my Steam Deck, and I can use this for my iPad, and it works. I get beautiful 1 gigabit Ethernet on my iPad with the DokuMedia keyboard. And lastly...
You are still living in your own world. No one's living in this world.
Some people are.
Well, there's one person who lives in this world, which is Hiroaki Yuta, who we spoke about earlier on in the show.
Yes.
I feel like the two of you are living in your own plane of existence right now with the things that you're up to, you know?
So, maybe. So the thing is, I'm going to keep using this keyboard.
All right.
Despite the many things I would change about it. Starting from how the letters are printed. The convenience of the hub and the convenience of the function row makes it right now, at this point in time, a preferable option to the Magic Keyboard with a big asterisk. And that asterisk being assuming that the trackpad keeps working and that the bugs don't start growing or duplicating themselves over time. Because I remain convinced that all these folks, they are reverse engineering how a Magic trackpad works, and maybe something will break at some point.
I'm pretty sure that when Bridge did this, they said that was what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
That they reverse engineered it.
Yeah. So right now it works, and it's much better than a Bridge keyboard ever was. I would love for Doko MIDI to make a fully adjustable version of this keyboard,
right,
with the same mechanism of the Bridge one.
Yeah, because again, like this one is closer to the Magic keyboard.
Yeah,
right? And
the viewing angles are the same as the Magic keyboard. Really.
It's cantilevering.
So, cantilevering over there, just floating above a function row, which is really useful to have. Now, very quickly, Myke, before we talk, I think I want to talk to you about my Steam Deck setup.
Yeah.
The Sony Pulse earbuds. These are the new sort of PlayStation 5 themed earbuds that Sony is making. I received them today, and I gotta tell you, I was not expecting to love these earbuds, but I do, for a very specific reason. Not just because they look cool, they look like a mini PS5, but there actually is an earbuds case. Finally, Myke, I have a single set of earbuds that I can use with 3 separate handhelds.
Okay.
So, I said, I believe on Unwind or App Stories, that I sold my PS Portal. I did not end up selling it. The guy who bought it online didn't pay me.
Oh.
So, of course, I didn't ship it.
Good.
And in doing that, out of curiosity, I realized, well, now that I have an Eero right next to me at night, let me see if the Portal improves with stronger Wi-Fi right next to it.
Yep.
And boy, did it improve. It was much better with an Eero sitting a meter away from it. So yeah, I'm keeping it.
Yeah, I bought one and returned it because it was bad.
Yeah.
The lag was really bad, and I did not enjoy it, so I returned mine.
These earbuds, they are incredible for me specifically because they do exactly what I wanted. I can use them with my Steam Deck, the PS Portal, and the Nintendo Switch, each with a different connection method. And you just can toggle between them with the click of a button on the earbuds. On the PS Portal has native PS Link support. You press a button on the Portal, and it detects that there are Sony Pulse earbuds nearby, and it connects to them. In the Steam Deck, as we'll talk about in a few minutes, I can plug in the PS Link adapter directly, so that the Steam Deck sees the adapter, routes the audio to the adapter, and I can hear games music in my earbuds.
Why don't you use Bluetooth for that?
Hold on. I'm using Bluetooth for the Nintendo Switch. So the same earbuds are paired via Bluetooth to my Nintendo Switch. So when I am playing on my Nintendo Switch, I just press a button on the earbuds and they connect to my Nintendo. So
aren't they Bluetooth 5.1? Like you compared to multiple devices with Bluetooth.
Well, but I just prefer, I have the adapter and I have multiple USB ports on my Steam Deck. So why not? And again, we'll get to that in a few minutes. And this way, and I tested this today, it works. So I just, cycling through multiple consoles, And I'm never gonna do this in real life. Like, it's not like now let me play on the Steam Deck. Oh, now I want to play on my Nintendo. Actually, no, let me grab my Portal now. Like, I'm never gonna do that. But I tested it and it works. So they sound great. They work with the Portal. They work with the Steam Deck. I got rid of all the earbuds I was using. Now I have one set of earbuds for 3 handhelds. Beautiful.
That's pretty good, actually, to have like these are your gaming headphones. Like,
yes, finally. I have one thing that I can use for all my portable devices.
How's the audio quality? Because these are planar headphones.
Yes,
right? Earbuds.
It's actually very good. It's more biased. I mean, being video game earbuds, it doesn't surprise me. I'm gonna say something that you're gonna make fun of me for. Very biased towards trebles and highs. Yeah, they sound good. I wouldn't recommend it as music listening earbuds, but they sound really good for what they do.
How are the mids? Are they crunchy?
Yes.
Okay.
Crunchy mids.
And the bass, is it a well-rounded soundstage?
Crunchy mids, shimmering highs, all those adjectives are here, Myke, for you.
Well-rounded, strong, crunchy mids and bass. These do look cool though. My thought was if I liked the Portal, I was going to get these because it's ridiculous that the Portal doesn't have Bluetooth, so you have to use wired headphones.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the Portal, so I didn't get these. So if anything, I'm actually kind of happy that they didn't release these at the same time, which was ridiculous to me at first, but then I didn't have to return 2 products. So I'm happy about that. So, but I have decided to take the money that I got for my PlayStation Portal and put it towards the consideration of a Steam Deck OLED. And
okay, let's do this.
But before we get there, let me take our final break of this week's episode and thank our friends at Notion for their support of this week's episode. Notion combines your notes, your documents, and projects all together in one beautiful space. And navigating that space is easier than ever thanks to Notion's new feature, Q&A. Q&A is an AI assistant that can answer questions about the next quarter's roadmap, find that marketing campaign proposal you're looking for, or dig up a long-lost link all in seconds. I am very deep into Notion now. I have 2 spaces. I have one for me. I have one for Cortex brand, and I am living the life of living my life in Notion. I put so much stuff in there. I love that the data that I put into it can be represented in different ways. Maybe I want this to look like a Kanban board. Maybe I want this to look like a calendar. You're able to use the same pieces of information just with the right metadata represented in a bunch of different ways. It's really easy to share stuff with people, to work in a collaborative space. It's really easy to integrate loads of different services. And I have been using Notion AI for a bunch of different things. My 2 favorite things that I've been doing so far, I use Notion AI to help me summarize actions from meeting notes. I'm taking notes during meetings. Like I say, give me the action items and it will go through and give me them. And I've used Notion Q&A a few times now. I used it just yesterday to be like, what was the order that we wanted to make for such and such project next June? And it went through and found that we were talking about that in a previous meeting, and Notion Q&A gave me the answers to that question. Really cool. I didn't have to go search for it because it would have been complicated to search for it because I didn't remember where I'd said it, but Notion Q&A can help surface that. Notion AI can give you instant answers to your questions using information from across your wikis, your projects, your docs, and your meeting notes. You can ask Q&A questions from anywhere in Notion, so you can find exactly what you need without leaving the document that you're working on right now, staying focused on what's important. When you use Notion AI, it's even easier to do your most meaningful work. Plus, you can trust your data is secure because Notion AI is designed to protect your information. No models are trained with your information, the data is encrypted, and the answers will never use information from pages that you don't have access to. Try Notion AI for free when you go to notion.com/connected. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/connected to try the powerful, easy-to-use Notion AI today. And when you use our link, you're supporting our show. That is notion.com/connected. Our thanks to Notion for their support of this show and Relay FM. So, sell me on the Steam Deck OLED.
Okay. to sell you on the Steam Deck OLED, the first thing you gotta know is that the display looks incredible. And it makes your games look better. And it's very pleasant for the eyes. And you're gonna be happy just by looking at it. So the reason you should get it is that you love video games.
I do.
And this display makes you love video games even more.
I love to love video games.
Yep. And the reason, and I'm going to talk about my version of the Steam Deck shortly, but seriously, the weight reduction is really nice and noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it comes with Wi-Fi 6E even, I want to say, is remarkable. You will see much faster downloads when you download like chunky games like Cyberpunk, for example. Cyberpunk looks really cool because it supports HDR, and this is OLED with HDR on this screen. But seriously, like it's not just like it really is remarkable how good this display looks. I think it looks better than the Nintendo one as a panel. I think it looks better. And like playing any colorful game, like I'm playing Sea of Stars at the moment, and it looks just incredible. Like it's so bright and vivid, and it's nice. It's a nice object, is all I can say. Mm-hmm. My version of the Steam Deck I call the Ticci deck.
Tell me about the Ticci deck.
I have almost reached the final form of the Ticci deck. So this is something that started as an experiment inspired by a Mac Stories reader who sent me a very nice email weeks ago. So the idea is I mounted on the back of the Steam Deck a pluggable slim Thunderbolt hub. It's a 5-in-1 pluggable hub. It's the smallest Thunderbolt hub in existence. It's very, very slim. And initially I mounted this with Velcro to the back of the Steam Deck. Now I'm using, for the moment, an accessory called the DeckMate. They also make a version for the ROG Ally called the AllyMate. But I'm waiting for OTJ to ship me a potentially better solution from Etsy that was not available for shipping in Italy. But for now, I'm using this mounting clip called the DeckMate. And there's going to be links in the show notes and pictures. You will see this hub mounted to the back of the Steam Deck and this short USB-C cable made by Ticci. It's a flat USB-C cable that connects the Steam Deck to the hub. And I provide power to the hub from any USB-C adapter or battery because I have a USB-C to DC converter cable. The advantage here...
I'm just so impressed. I don't know how you do this. I'm so impressed with you sometimes.
Lots of research. These things.
But like that amount of research, I just don't know if I have the ability to deal with it. You know,
I love modding things and coming up with solutions. This way, it's even better on the Steam Deck OLED because like I'm sort of, before I could tell that I was adding some weight to the Steam Deck. But now, because the Steam Deck OLED lost 30 grams, it's even better. It's much more balanced, and I don't mind playing games like this with this thing mounted to the back of the console, especially if I'm lying in bed, and so placing the console on my lap is not a problem. Because now I get to plug multiple things in the Steam Deck, including my glasses over USB-C. And this is why I needed to get this hub, because I gotta have fast USB data transfer, not just any, generic $30 USB hub. I gotta provide video out over USB-C. So this is why I got a USB 4 Thunderbolt 4 hub. I can plug my glasses and play with my glasses as I feel like I'm bothering Sylvia with a beautiful OLED display. I can plug in my Ethernet monster into this thing. And I can stream PS5 games, or, and I'm going to tell you this, Myke, I can stream over Ethernet PC games. I can stream Cyberpunk 2077 at psycho settings over my network with Moonlight.
Damn.
On the Steam Deck. I can plug in my audio adapter. As you can see in the pictures, there's the PS Link adapter plugged in. I could also plug it into the top of the hub, I guess, because there's a USB-A port at the top that I totally forgot about. So yeah, this is my Ticci deck. I'm still waiting for John to ship me. I think he's getting it today, actually, and then he will ship it to me. The alternative mounted solution that we found on Etsy. John has been assisting me in this research stage, so thank you, John, as always. But yeah, the Steam Deck for me has become my ultimate sort of portable machine. It does everything. Indie games, streaming PC games from my gaming PC, which incidentally it is an ROG Ally with a mobile eGPU, but that's a different conversation. Or I can play with my glasses, or I can play with the OLED display. I have options. And if there's one thing I love in life is having options and flexibility. I love two things, modding stuff and having options. And these two things that I love in life are coming together in this Steam Deck, which I absolutely adore.
I'm very intrigued. I think I'm going to do it. Because I think I can sell my old Steam Deck to help fund this purchase.
I sold it in like 2 days. People want it.
Okay.
People want the Steam Deck. So I will recommend it,
What one do you have?
Of the OLED one?
Yeah. Do you have the
my recommendation, don't get the 1 terabyte model because it's got the etched display. Get the mid model, get the 512 gig model because it comes with a glossy display. Now, unless you plan on playing video games with the light source reflecting above you at all times, get the glossy one because it makes the OLED pop even more.
I thought that. I'd figured that the etched one would maybe make it look a little duller, like in the way that the Apple one does, like the Pro Display or whatever.
Yep. If you can avoid playing with the light source directly above the display of the Steam, get the glossy one. It looks incredible.
I also don't need that. I have a big micro SD card, which has got a lot of my games on it anyway. And that would actually be easier when moving from Steam Deck to Steam Deck, I assume. Can you just pop an SD card out and put it in? Will it work?
I didn't do it. But also I wanted to start fresh. I had a lot of plugins on the old Steam Deck, a lot of junk. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wipe it. I'm just gonna wipe it and re-download everything, which I did, and it took an hour. Now that I have fiber, I don't care anymore about these things.
Well, you have done what the chapter says. You have sold me. I am absolutely sold on this now. Because as well, I want to play the new Cyberpunk. So maybe I should wait. Because I played Cyberpunk on my Steam Deck completely. So I want to do Phantom Liberty, and I guess I should wait. I bet it would look really, really, really good with OLED.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will.
All right. Also, the weight thing, mentioning that. I didn't really think about that, or I'd forgotten about that, but there being a weight difference. But yeah, I feel like with the money I saved from getting my return on the PS Portal and the money that I would make for selling my Steam Deck, I could probably fund the entire purchase of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I have one last thing I want to ask you about today. The founders of Workflow that became Shortcuts left Apple. And they have started a new company along with Kim Beverett, who was working at Apple for a long time in various. I think was probably working with them at Shortcuts or on the Siri team. I think.
Yes.
They have left to form a new company with the greatest name ever, Software Applications Incorporated.
Really good name.
They have a cool website. The website is basically it's just a Mac OS 8 emulation, and they are working on bringing some form of AI tools to the desktop. We spoke about this a little bit on Upgrade, but if you have anything you wanted to mention on that specifically, please do. But I wanted to ask you some questions about Shortcuts. Did you have anything you wanted to mention on this? I know you wrote a post about it on Mac Stories.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I think if there's a team of people who can do this sort of thing, a large language model integrated with your operating system, I think that's these folks, they know how to do it.
Yep. Getting computers to do things this is what they do, right? Like this is what they've done for a decade, probably at this point.
For more than a decade at this point, yeah. I mean, but I don't have anything else to say because there's nothing to see or try at this point.
But my question to you is, what do you think this means for shortcuts?
I don't think it means much because obviously shortcuts is continuing at Apple. And if my theory is right, they are I feel like shortcuts will become a key component of the new Siri intelligence based on a large language model. Like the whole idea of, I have this theory where the whole idea of like asking the new Siri to do multiple things for you, I think it'll be backed by shortcuts. I think there's a scenario in which Apple is taking a large language model, or maybe they're just gonna keep things separate. But I feel like you will be able, whether it's presented as a Siri feature or as a shortcuts feature, I think you will be able to build series of actions. You will be able to build these workflows, these shortcuts using natural language in iOS 18. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think Apple is moving away from shortcuts. I think Apple is going even deeper on shortcuts, but not the kind of shortcuts that we know and love. So will that be a shock for power users? Most likely. We'll see. But I don't think shortcuts is done for at all at Apple.
But it will be different, right?
But it will be different. To the point where I almost wonder if there's a scenario in which the current shortcuts editor, the drag and drop one, inspired by Automator, inspired by a long history of automation tools, I wonder if there's a scenario in which that's referred to as the legacy editor of shortcuts at some point. We'll see. Because you could put together shortcuts with natural language, but then you still gotta edit them, right? You still gotta fine-tune them. We'll see, but I feel like I could see a point in which Apple says, well, this visual thing with the actions that you move around, that's the legacy stuff. Now our new editor looks like this, and it's different. Maybe it's more, I don't know, but I feel like they will do something where you start with a sentence and you go from there.
I mean, I do wonder if in the future something like shortcuts is even needed anymore. Like if something like what Software Applications Incorporated wants to do, like if Apple do something like that, where it's just like you're just telling the computer to do something, like do you need shortcuts? Like if I could just tell the computer like do this, but that's far into the future, I still think, like to be reliable.
So I was thinking about this yesterday when I was walking the dogs because I was listening to you on Upgrade.
Thank you.
That's what I do. So right now, shortcuts is needed because we have these silos, right? There are the apps that we use. And so a common sort of language is needed to make these apps communicate with each other, right? And so you have shortcuts, and you have the shortcuts UI, and you have the intents, and you have this manual ways to string these automations together. Mm-hmm. And you do it because there's no underlying sort of I don't want to keep referring to it as a language, but like an underlying common layer, which should be the intelligence of the computer to say, I want this to be done in this order, in these different places. Like even the idea, and now I'm projecting multiple years in the future, but like if this AI stuff really takes off, it could undermine the whole premise of an app. So say, project yourself 10 years from now, right? Mm-hmm. If you think about it, you're really using apps as these visual containers of data, right? Mm-hmm. But if you can just ask the computer, and the computer has this underlying intelligence that knows your content, effectively an app is reduced to a visual container.
It's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time, and it becomes like the app that we know of today, a data container, something that you interact with, could become just a visual, like a theme, apps could become themes, like little skins for your computer's intelligence. Sort of like back in the day, you used to install skins for Winamp on your PC running Windows XP. Like that could become the future of apps if AI takes off and your computer, like he doesn't care that you're using Fantastical or Things or Safari anymore, right? I'm projecting multiple years down the road. But basically what I'm saying
is it though? This is the thing. I keep feeling like I'm getting tripped up on it. Like everything I think is far away seems to be much closer than it originally appeared to be.
It's thinking this way, I think, is a coping mechanism for us to make us feel safer about our jobs. Because so much of our identity is tied up. No, but hear me out. So much of my identity, at least, is based on, reviewing apps and thinking of these silos like shortcuts. There's an app here, there's an app there, and this is how we are living in unprecedented times in terms of like the technology that we use changes right under our feet, and it's scary. And so we cope with that by saying, well, now we are projecting, multiple years down the road we'll be fine, but it's actually not multiple years down the road. But we say it to make us feel better, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you, but it's like it's a thing to think about, right? Like
it's a thing to think about. If your computer is powered by an underlying intelligence that is really intelligent, right? What even is an app anymore? Is what I'm asking, and I don't know. Fundamentally, it comes down to things like why should things the task manager be separate from Todoist the task manager, which is separate from OmniFocus the task manager? Like they're all using 3 different data sets. But if my computer is like this sort of virtual being, this intelligence that knows me, why should I even use like a separate utility anymore? I'm just going to tell the computer, hey, by the way, remind me that I got to do this.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? I don't know. So what were we even saying? Oh, yeah, shortcuts.
It's shortcuts. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Is it even needed anymore? It depends. Because then there's the financial aspect of it, right? Apple makes money off of apps on the App Store. They have this whole, and if you're Apple, you got to be thinking about this, right? You must be thinking about this like, well, if apps become this like thing of the past, it shakes up an entire industry of developers, of apps, of subscriptions, of everything. And so, entertainment services will be fine. Netflix will be fine, but like this idea of like productivity apps and services, it's very complex.
Hey, Federico, maybe we're about to learn how much money Apple makes from productivity apps. Spoiler alert, not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, realistically, it's games, right? It's games.
It's games.
They're not going away because it's a form of entertainment. So, like, like, I understand what you're saying. Like, it's going to change stuff. From the economical standpoint, I guess we'll find out, like, how much is it really?
But like 5 years from now, what's stopping Apple from releasing a tool that is like a Siri version, whatever, and which is like, and again, hear me out, and I promise you, I'm not on drugs. I don't do drugs. I just have these thoughts. Picture, okay, HyperCard, but with a large language model.
Yeah.
In which you are effectively saying, hey, computer, I need an app that does this and looks like this, and here's the data, and the interactions should be like this. Like, create software by text or by voice. And if you can do that, why would you even go on the App Store and look for something?
This isn't wild to me. Like this, this sounds like what OpenAI is trying to do with their like custom GPTs. Like it's this. Yeah. So like I could imagine Apple getting into that business, which is like, we will sell you capabilities that other people make.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So like somebody's built their own custom app and they'll just sell it. Like, so you could, basically like imagine if there was a shortcut store you would be a shortcuts developer, right? So because you kind of in a roundabout way already are, right? Like in the sense of like you give access to Club Mac Stories members certain shortcuts that are available for them. But like this would be like...
I should have called it the shortcut store.
You should. There's still time, you know? But like you could have and would do that. And so like somebody could do that with a GPT that they've made. And the best ones will make the most money, I suppose.
So much of this, I think it depends on the Apple as a company that wants to do this from a product perspective, and Apple not doing this from a financial perspective, because it maybe disrupts the App Store too much.
But there's the question, though, of like, well, if somebody makes a phone that does it and it ain't Apple, is that not a bigger financial risk?
Yeah, also that.
Right?
Also that.
Hey, I wouldn't want to be making these decisions right now. I'll tell you that.
So yeah, best of luck to Ari, Conrad, and
Can't
Kim.
wait to see what they're doing. Cannot wait to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
If you want to catch the show notes for this week's episode and read everything we spoke about, you can look in your podcast app of choice. It's where it should be. But if it's not, for some reason, go to relay.fm/connected/479. I would like to thank our sponsors for this episode. That is Fitbod, ExpressVPN, and Notion. Thank you if you're a member and support the show. Don't forget, you can go to giverelay.com until December 15th and get 20% off an annual plan. If you want to find Federico online, he is the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net and one of the hosts of the Mac Stories Connected Universe of Podcasts. You can go to MacStories.net to find him. He is at Ticci, Viticci, on Mastodon. Just do the thing and find him. I'm sure you can find him. At some time it'd be on Threads, and you'd be able to find him there too. Threads with an F. Someone should make that service for people who cannot say their THs properly. So it's a very, not European, but I guess English. But anyway, you can find me online. I host shows here on Relay FM. I make products over at cortexbrand.com, and I am at iMyke, IMYKE. Stephen will be back next week, but you can find his work over at 512pixels.net. I got a preview of a little article that he's been working on while in his resting bed, so look forward to reading that over the next few days. I assume he's going to post it. It looks like fun stuff. Over at 512pixels.net. He's at ISMH, and please send him things related to feet, but good stuff. Don't get weird. Just send him good stuff. Things you think he'll like. How about that? We'll go with that. We'll be back. Well, I'm going to be away again. This month is weird, all right? We're all just going to have to accept it. We're all in and out. But OTJ, I think, is joining the show next week, which I'm looking forward to because John's a good time. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Connected. Until next time, say goodbye, Federico.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.